You're listening to Krush Performance, your weekly source for sport performance and athletic development information. Get the Krush blogs, podcasts, and performance links at crushperformance.com. Now, here he is, the Crusher.
Welcome to Krush Performance, everybody. I am Jeff Rochelle, and we are your weekly source for performance information. And I want to welcome you to 2026 as we kick off this year with a bang. For the last 12 years, we have started the season with my good friend and colleague, Mr. Jim Fannin, the coach of champions. Now listen, Jim has been in the performance world for over 50 years, and not just in sport. We're talking business, we're talking music, we're talking over 60 different industries and over 5,000 performers over the course of his career. And this is one of those special occasions where we get to tap into an unbelievable wealth of knowledge. And of course, Jim has been kind enough to come on and help us kick off every single new year for the last 12 years. And you can go back into the Krush archives and listen to all of them because they all pack a punch. And this year, I'm expecting Jim Fannin to come out and again, help us sort of set the course for what we want to accomplish in this new year. I personally love the new year as a time to look back and reflect. Okay. And then, as Jim Fannin would say, bury it in the backyard like a dog burying a bone. Look back to learn, look forward to plan, and be in the moment. And that's going to be the challenge, I think, for 2026. And I'm going to put on all of my athletes, my family members, and certainly myself, being in the moment more. And I can't wait to talk to Jim about his strategies for all of the high performers he works with in every facet of life, and some of the things he's going to recommend that we all think about as we get set to tackle this upcoming year. Because listen, I've got goals. You've got goals. Our children have goals and objectives. We all have things we're planning to do. And there are little nuances, I think, that we can all sort of tap into or maybe be reminded of that can help us get there. Okay, I am so excited about today's show. Hey, listen, if you want to get more, go to crushperformance.com or jeffcrochelle.com. If you have questions, comments, smart remarks, or listen, if you do need some help with your program, your team's program, your organization's program, that's why we're here. And again, I've said it before. If you're new to the show, I'm going to say it again. If we don't have the answer, we know somebody who does have the answer. That's pretty much a guarantee. And those people, the great thing about those people is they're all willing to share. And Jim Fannin is one of those people for sure. So listen, if you do need help in any aspect of your performance or life in general, reach out. jeffcrochelle.com. Follow us on social media, search out Krush Performance. And of course, you guys can pick up the podcast and the video version on YouTube, our new YouTube channel, which we're going to be doing a lot on. Okay, all right, let's get to it. I am looking forward to 2026. Again, as I mentioned, I like the new year as kind of a reset, refocus. Let's get ready to go to battle here. And no better way to start mapping out your blue plan or your blueprint or your battle plan than to visit with our good friend and colleague, Jim Fannin, the zone coach of champions. Let's get to it. All right, Mr. Jim Fannin, welcome to 2026, yet another year here on Krush Performance. The 13th year in a row, we've kicked off our annual campaign with Mr. Jim Fannin, my close friend, colleague, and also, just super human being. Jim, thanks so much for joining us in our 20th season, by the way. Away we go, 2026.
Krush, I don't know how this happened so fast, but we blink and a decade plus has gone by. It's pretty amazing, but I love kicking off the new year on your show. I've been doing it for a long time. What you do is so invaluable. You're helping so many people, and whatever I can do to contribute, I'm in. Happy New Year, everybody.
Yeah, no, so great to have you. And again, on YouTube, for everybody to be able to see you, Jim, I'm loving seeing you. I haven't made it to Chicago here these last few years like I've been trying to see you in person. So this is a real treat for me as well. So good to see you on YouTube as well.
I'm glad I'm here.
Yeah. Well, hey, listen, leading up to this show, it got me thinking about, when we first met. I was working with the Blue Jays. You were working with some of my players way back then. Listen, you have 50 years in the industry, mister. You worked with 5,000 plus champion, people in 60, I believe, plus different industries. And that right there got me thinking, Jim, about how, you know what? We're kind of a product. I was thinking about myself, reflecting back on, all the conversations we've shared and how your thought process, your focus, and the things you talk about influence me, and then how that goes on to influence my family, my girls, and the athletes I work with. It's just it just got me thinking about community, Jim, and how we're all sort of connected somehow. But man, oh man, it took me back, I think, almost 7 or 8 years. It was 7 or 8 years ago. You were on the show, and I actually have a crush report. I'm going to play it later in the show after our interview's done. A crush report with you, where you talked about problem solving and decision making. And honestly, I think that was a little nudge in my personal development trajectory, Jim, because it got me thinking more about, when I'm faced with adversity, when my athletes are faced with adversity, break it, become a problem solver. But that is not necessarily a natural thing, right?
I think the first thing to become a world-class problem solver is to drop the word problem. It's a word we use all the time. Oh, I got a problem. He's a problem. If we don't do that, we're going to have another problem. And what I found is problems are heavy and they're cumbersome and they're unwieldy. Oh, I got a problem. And when I think of it, I want to drop my head. It's hard to hold my head up. If we just change that word, put down the problem, everybody, pick up the challenge. You going to challenge me? I'm an athlete. Okay, I may be 50 some years removed from when I was a full-time athlete, but you're going to challenge me? I'm going to meet the challenge. But you dump a problem on me, I might collapse. I might be overcome. I might be overwhelmed by a problem. It is one word only. You change that word to challenge, you're going to change your outlook on life. I have a challenge. Okay, what's the solution? I immediately go there. I go to the end game of what I need to do. But a problem starts to drip into my worry mindset. And that's another thing. Are you a warrior? A warrior, Warrior. Are you a warrior or are you a worrier? And I'm telling you, I've never seen more worriers in my lifetime than I did in 2025. They're everywhere. Worriers. I walked into Rice University, one of the most prestigious institutions in the world, top 10 in the U.S. in academics. And I'm with 35 student athletes. If you worry, raise your hand. Everybody, instant. It was so quick, so decisive. 35 guys, not one guy kept his hand down. They all, what do you worry about? I don't know if I'm going to play. Okay, I understand that. You're there on scholarship. You want to play. I'm worried about getting playing time. I got that. What are you worried about? I think my mom and dad are going to get a divorce. Okay, well, that's got nothing to do with sports. And I went down the list, and they worried about a broad range of things. Jeff, then I went to a fourth grade class. Fourth grade. We're talking eight-year-olds, 9-year-olds, fourth grade. Do you all know what worry is? If you do, raise your hand. Boom, every kid. And I'm thinking, I don't remember exactly what I was thinking in the third and fourth grade, but I don't think I worried about anything except maybe it's going to get dark and I can't play anymore. I'm concerned about hurrying up before the sun goes down. We didn't have lights anywhere. But what do you worry about? I think my grandfather's going to die. Well, cycle of life, and that happens, and love him while you can and learn from him, all that. What do you worry about? My mom and dad are running out of money. I'm sure they didn't like for that to be broadcast in front of the school class and the teacher and me. And they just started breaking. My parents are going to get a divorce. That was a college student that told me that, and a third grader that told me that. The same thing. So what I've learned in 76 years of being on this planet, you got to enjoy the journey. And that's why a problem, I don't have them. Do you have any problem? No. Do I have challenges? I have plenty of challenges. And I put myself in those challenging positions because I'm looking to climb the highest peak. What does that mean? Well, it could be an avalanche or there's going to be some rough terrain for me to deal with. I'm going to have challenges because I chose the highest peak. But you know what's wrong with our kids today and our society today? It's how we handle when our expectations don't meet reality. I think I mentioned that 13 straight years, quite frankly. Yeah. When expectations don't meet reality, that could be in a baseball player striking out. He drops his head, he rolls his eyes, he bitches and moans about something, and he stays in the past, and he doesn't improve. And we have a 5-second rule. The score system is right behind my forehead. It's right above me. I have a score level, S.C.O.R.E. Self-discipline, concentration, optimism, relaxation, enjoyment. There's Jim's score level. And if I worry, my relaxation, the R, is going to take a pop in the face. If I'm not having fun doing what I do, my enjoyment level, boom, it's got a shot in the face. But what if I don't have a plan? I'm not self-disciplined. Well, that's the S. What if I'm not focused? Jeff, when I started coaching, this was 40 years after I started, the average mindset thought was 14 seconds. Today, it's 6 seconds.
Wow.
So how's your concentration? And then the O right in the middle of the word, man, that's my belief system. That's my optimism. So I'm only as good as the weakest of those 5 markers. And what I'm seeing today, those markers are all jumbled up. Enjoyment is low, relaxation is low. People have doubts because we all want certainty. I want certainty in my life. I want certainty that I'm going to get paid next week. I want certainty that I'll have a job next month. I want certainty that my wife and I are going to bond and stay married forever. We want certainty as humans, and I'm telling you right now, the world is full of uncertainty.
Yeah.
And we're not handling it very well. And our kids, because stress runs downhill, it don't run uphill. It starts at the top, dad, mom, kids, and it runs downhill. It goes from the office to the 4th grade class because they're all listening to everything we're saying. They can hear us when we're upset because we can't afford to pay rent next month. All those things are being communicated to our children, and they're not equipped to handle when expectations don't meet reality. And that's right. Where the SCORE system comes in, Jeff. It was designed to handle life at its toughest. I mean, I grew up tough. Appalachia, outhouse, no electricity, well water. Mommy, we poor? You hungry? No, ma'am. Then you're not poor. Oh, okay. I didn't know we were poor because mom said, I'm not poor. It was a mindset. So you got to ask yourself, do you have that winning mindset right now? And are you passing that winning mindset to your children? Because part of winning is learning how to lose. And I'm telling you, I've learned more lessons from losing than I've ever learned from winning. I've had my ass kicked in pro tennis in every country in Europe but Belgium. Now, I coached the #1 player in Belgium in golf and tennis, but I've never been to Belgium. That's why I never lost there. I've never actually been to Antwerp, Belgium. But I lost everywhere else. And when you lose, if you learn, you never lose.
Yeah.
If you learn, you never lose. Losing is the bright light that goes, okay, I got to approach this in a different way. Okay, I got to bolster up my hitting the opposite way in baseball. I got to work on that. So you only go in the past, Jeff, for laughing and losing and learning, rather. Laughing and learning is the only reason to go in the past. And I've stayed out of it the majority of my life. I very seldom go there. I don't remember things because I don't want to remember them. I don't want to know little minutia crap that means nothing of me going forward up the mountain that I chose. And every year I choose a pretty high mountain to climb. Just why not? It's fun and it challenges me, and I love being challenged. So that's kind of where we are right now. And I think you've got to look at your life and say, what do I need? And what problems can I turn into challenges where I can come up with a blueprint solution to fix it? And this year, I think should be right now introspection of who am I, what do I want, and where do I want to go? And we need to make simplicity out of this as fast as we possibly can. I'm sure you're seeing that in the junior ranks in hockey. Right now, go watch a junior hockey game and put on earmuffs and don't hear anything. Just watch. Just watch. And you're going to see kids on the ice miss an easy goal, maybe an empty netter. And they're going to be hard on themselves because the number one defense mechanism of all humans, we learned it at 5, 6, 7, and 8. I'm going to be mean to me so that people that love me won't be mean to me. So I'm going to kick my own ass. I suck. I'm an idiot. And I'm going to get what I really want. It's okay, Jimmy. You're all right. All I wanted was a hug. I learned to be mean to me so that people around me won't, in my opinion, in my perception, be mean to me.
Right.
And we're not teaching our children the value of positive self-talk, the inner dialogue that our kids are having right now. Listen to this. This is disturbing. So I've been talking to a lot of psychiatrists. I've had a couple want me to actually coach them. That's first in 50 years. What? You need me to help you? Why? All my clients are dying, suicide. I'm like, oh my goodness.
Oh, wow.
I said, well, what's the extent of this suicidal trend you're telling me about? And this was multiple psychiatrists, not one. 73% of all my young 30 and under clients, 73% had thought suicide. I didn't mean they tried it. I didn't mean they did it. They thought it. When did all this happen?
Right.
This is disturbing. I'm concerned as a leader in thought management. I'm like, wow, we're way off base here with how we're thinking. And I think mom and dad, we need to get our act together. 1 + 1 = 3. You and I together should equal more than apart. But everything that we say, everything that we think is being broadcast to our children.
Yeah.
Are we the best example? You know, you come home, you're tired. I get it. I'm exhausted. You let your hair down, maybe you have a beer, and now you just talk crap about how life sucks. And they're sitting there listening. They may be watching a cartoon. They may be 2 years old. I was just my 2-year-old granddaughter and my 7-year-old grandson. They're smarter than I ever was at 7 and 2. I mean, it's shocking how smart they are. I mean, I'm like a dummy compared to them. I mean, they're talking to Siri or Alexa, do this, do that, volume 10. That's my 2-year-old. She can barely talk. She's communicating with AI. That's all she knows. That if I want to change the song, all I got to do is tell Siri, change the song and put it on 10 volume. We're in a different place, but we're not equipped. We're not equipped to handle when expectations don't meet reality. You know, as parents, we want our kids to strive for the mountaintop. Go for it. Be the best you can be. Think big. Be big. We all want that. And so we put expectations. Some of them can't be met. They don't have the talent. They just don't have the physical, athletic ability. Okay, it is what it is. But how many times do we put those expectations, and then when they don't meet them, and they look up from the ice, and there I am with my arms crossed, and I'm ticked because you miss an easy empty netter. And my kid now sees that and goes, I'm an idiot. I'm so stupid. So that I'll be nice to him. Now, that's not every parent. That's not every hockey game. That's not every baseball game. But I'm telling you, I'm seeing it over and over, and I'm hearing it every day. That's all we do. So what's the solution? I don't think it's coaching your kids. I think it's you need to get your act together as mom and dad.
Yeah.
And where are we going as a family? And how are we going to handle when expectations don't meet reality? Because our kids are watching how we're handling that. And, you know, there's three people that want to drive on the road of life. And there's three people in every kid's car. The 16-year-old gets that car. Well, there's three people in that car, and only one's going to drive. There's the judge. Well, the judge is judging everybody on the road. No, he's too slow. He's fat. He's not any good. Judges. We judge anybody and everybody. We judge people on TV that we don't even know. We judge them. You're this, you're that. When the judge drives, the car doesn't go fast. It's not efficient. It doesn't hug the road on a curve. No, the judge is too busy with his energy going everywhere but where he wants to go. So you don't want the judge to drive. Then there's the victim. Oh, my goodness. When the victim gets behind the wheel, Jeff, I'm a victim of circumstance. I'm a victim of this condition. There's a log on the road. I'm going to be late now. Why didn't they move this off the road? There's the victim and the judge. Well, the third person that should be driving every car is the champion. What does the champion do? He goes over the log. He goes around the log. He gets out and removes the log. But he doesn't freak out. He doesn't bitch and moan. He doesn't complain. Champions don't complain. They're too busy beating you because they're locked into what they want to do. So I'm saying get rid of complaining, bolster your discipline, get a plan, focus more by staying off TikTok, staying off social media. I mean, I've gotten on it, and I've gotten up from TikTok and went, I just dropped an hour and a half. What have I learned? A couple of jokes that I can't remember. They were funny, but there I am. Why am I doing that? And so I think there definitely needs to be some changes for everyone. Get your focus. Get the confidence of your children up. Their self-esteem is everything. That's what they think other people think about them. That's our primary reason for kids is bolster their confidence so they can go out and meet the challenges that they're going to be confronted with. And then the other thing, Jeff, I'll tell you one of my secrets. Nobody, no situation, no condition, no circumstance is going to elevate my breathing. It's not going to happen. Right. That's my superpower. If I can keep my breath per minute under 10, the average is 15 to 17. I suspect everybody watching and listening, you're not even 15 to 17. The odds are you're 18, 19, 20, 21, 22 breaths a minute. You're frustrated. You're impatient. You get upset easy. You've never been so angry. Why are you having outbursts in a line at the store? Really? You're doing that? Why are you doing that? Well, you're judging and you're a victim because you're going to be late. Where's the champion? In another zip code, probably.
Right.
And really, that's my observation for everybody. And I'm excited about the technology now is amazing, but don't let it run our lives. It's just a tool. Use it. We use it in our office. All of our content's original, so we don't use AI for that. A lot of companies are doing that. That's a mistake. And but I think 2026 is a glorious year. I think there's a lot of things that we can do to better ourselves without spending a lot of money. I just think we need to invest some time so that we can get a return on that investment. What is the return? Positive children, warriors, not worriers, and world-class decision makers. Your kids are only as good, everybody, of what they think when you ain't there. What are they thinking? And I promise you, 15 to 30, there's probably going to be a line of cocaine putting on a table. I hope not. I hope it never happens to one family's kid. But you know what? I hear it all the time. It's prevalent. And if your son or daughter looks around to see who's doing what, you failed as a parent. My kid is going to get up and leave, take the best friend with him, and if he's not going, you're going. And they're not thinking about it. They're programmed to be a world-class decision maker. But if you look around and see what your friends are doing, well, now the peer group's in control and mom and dad are out of the equation. That's how you lose your son and daughter. And I've already lost my neighbor to fentanyl. She died.
Yeah, wow.
She died. When
That's
I
real
was
stuff,
Iowa,
Jim.
it hit me like a ton of bricks. The sweetest girl, she was like our daughter. She was at my house as much as my neighbors. And she goes out, goes drinking, and goes to sleep and never wakes up. Did she know she was taking it? Was it slip? No one knows. And the family doesn't even want to talk about it. People don't want to talk about it. And I'm telling everybody, we need decision makers in this chaotic, uncertain world. Yeah. And you can control your life from the mirror in your bathroom to the curb on your house. You control that. I'm going to control all the thoughts and influence all the thoughts in my home, where it's going to be a vacuum of positivity, of solution oriented. We can all do that if we want to do that. And I just don't think it's a priority. I think parents are winging what to do, but it's a mindset where we're closing the barn door after the cows have already left.
Right.
We need prevention. We need to raise decision makers so that you don't have to intervene. They've already made the decision and you're good to go. That's my wish for everybody listening, for your child and for you and your children for 2026.
Yeah, Jim, and this is why I think, thank you so much for that. That is
I went on a riff there, Jeff. Sorry.
That is a great riff, mister. That was one of those ones where we're going to go back and listen to this again and again. So many great things. Just the nuance of changing. Like, I think, Jim, is it? I really do. And again, here's a story for you. This last year, I was asked by an agency, a hockey agency, dealing with families and upcoming players, just to come out and talk. We were just doing some performance planning, and I met with the families and I just started talking about just the basic, fundamentals of just organizing life or creating a plan for success or chasing down your dream. And what I discovered, I was alarmingly, much like what you're talking about here, was that the parents with the greatest of intentions had no idea how to connect the dots. They just don't know. And that's why I think conversations like this, Jim, invaluable conversation. Like, this is an invaluable conversation. A little nuance. Just think about this. The word problem has been in our vocabulary since I think I was walking. But get rid of that word and change that word to challenge. Game changer. That is a nuance. It's a game changer, Jim. Like, and I think those little things, those strategies are the little things that people can really, they're tangible, can really bite into to make meaningful change. Does that sound right?
It does, and I've got a couple more changes I'd like to see everybody make. One of them is when you go home from work, or I'm in another room working remotely, when I leave that room or I leave my office and go home, put your cell phone down. Make your last call in the driveway. Close the door on your business. Don't drag it home. Stop it. Stop it, Dad. Stop it, Mom. Stop doing that. We have a 90-second rule. Walk in and see your family. Look them in the eye long enough to discern eye color. If you have a teenager, you ain't going to get more than 90 seconds anyway. If a teenager, I mean, I've raised two. How you doing? They grunt. I'm okay. You don't get much. We all know that. But it's a time where you've got to contain things, and this is what the S.C.O.R.E system does. We draft a blueprint for all student athletes and mom and dad and major corporations. And nothing great happens without a blueprint. So what we do is we segregate your life into little buckets. We call them arenas. So you have a self arena. That's my mental, physical, spiritual well-being. It's about only me. There ain't nobody in that arena. I may have a doctor that pops in and checks on me and sees how my vitals are doing. But I need to manage that self arena. I have a personal finance arena. Some of us have a lot of money. Some of us ain't got any money at all. I'm talking kids. We still build a financial arena for them, even if they just have an allowance. That's your money. Then there's your sport. Then there's your academics. It could be your job. There's your relationship with your wife. Once those are segregated, we help create a vision and a goal for all those arenas. But here's what happens, Jeff. If something negative happens in one arena, we contain it and leave it there. It doesn't spill into the other arenas of my life, which creates the proverbial bad day. I don't believe in bad days.
Love that.
That's the first thing we do with every one of our clients. We talk about it in our and then once you segregate your life, now it's about managing 5 things: your discipline, your focus, your confidence, your ability to be calm and cool when the money's on the table or the crap hits the fan. You got to be cool in both of them, the same, and enjoyment. And here's my thing that I've learned the most. Life is short. You don't realize that when you're 30. You kind of think about it when you're 40 because it's supposed to be the halfway point. 50, the new 40. 60, you start to go, oh, geez, when's that? When am I supposed to die? 878? What's that? What is that I'm supposed to die? I've learned real quick, this is all about enjoying the journey. I pledged I'm going to laugh every day. I'm going to dance every day. Jeff, I'm not very good, but I don't care. Jimmy dances. My wife rolls her eyes.
I want a video of that. I'll send you a video. You send me a video.
Oh, I can dance. I can dance, at least mentally, and I will dance in front of anybody. I don't care. I did a dance. I did a Dougie contest with the University of Illinois basketball team. I knew that one of the players on the team had won the dance contest for the whole university. So in front of the team, I got in front and I said, an old white guy is going to challenge you for your crown of the dance king of Illinois I'm going to kick your butt and get up here and see if you can out Dougie me. And the team went berserk. This is a couple of years ago. They went crazy. I did it. They gave me the title, even though I think he was much better than me. But you got to laugh every day, Jeff. I mean, you got to enjoy the journey.
Next time I'm dancing, I'm going to get my wife or one of my daughters to you're going to get a video of me dancing, man. And you're right. It's not going to be pretty, but you're going to laugh, brother. I'm telling you.
It's going to make me happy. And there's another thing. How many of us would like to be happy?
Yeah.
Would you like to be happy? And everybody goes, yeah, what is that? What is happy? Here's what I think happy is. There's no place that I would rather be than on Jeff Krushel's show right now. Or I should hang up. I should not be on here. I should click him off right now. Happiness, there's no place I'd rather be than where I am right now. Jim, what if you step in a pile of crap? You don't want to be in a pile of manure, do you? Yeah, but there could be a horse to ride. There could be a bonus here with a horse crap. There's got to be a horse. I love horse. I'm from Kentucky, for God's sakes. Come on. And it's happy as being in the moment. And it's only going into the future for planning, strategy, tactics, and only going to the past for learning and laughing. Otherwise, be present with your kids. Be present with your wife. You know how many of us, when we come home, we don't look our wife in the eye long enough to discern her eye color? Go do that after the show. Go look your wife in the, and she'll go, you all right? What's wrong with you? Why are you looking at me like that? She'll think you're nuts because you don't do it. We don't make, and since COVID, we haven't.
Right.
It's time to get the human spirit jacked up and be the best that we can be. But the E in S.C.O.R.E right above me, it's the end of the word, but it's the end of the system. You got to enjoy the journey. Yeah. Enjoy the challenge climbing that mountain. Will it be easy? I hope not. If it's not easy, I've chosen a good, challenging mountain to climb. And what happens when I reach it? I'll get another mountain to climb. Next. That'll be my battle cry.
Love it. I love it, Jim. So great. What a great way to kick off the year here. Small nuances. Being aware is obviously one of the number one things. And a lot of people maybe aren't self-aware right now. But before we go, there's lots to unpack here. And we'll talk about this when we let you go here. But you know, you talk about the worry and you talk about, you know, you and I talked earlier about what you feel is a real crisis, the males, 14 to 30 males, and the social media and just the disconnect. We're social media, but we're not as social. What do you think, Jim? You know, in order to really, you know, conquer a challenge, how important do you think it is for us to understand the making or the nuances or the matrix of that challenge?
Well, I think the process is what gets you the end result. Some routines, pre-performance routines, adjustment routines, assessment routines. We're not a population that always wants to assess everything, but that's where you really learn, when you have an honest assessment of your day. There's so many little things. For example, vision night. I want every family in North America once a month to have vision night. What is vision night? Vision night is when 5 people in the family, or 6 in the family, or 8 of you, or only 3 of you. You know, you got an only child. You each say, what is your vision? What do you want? I asked we had vision night during Christmas with my family. And the 2-year-old, Julia, what do you want? You know what she told me? Milkshake at Five Guys. She could barely talk. And I'm like, that's a vision. And on the 29th of December, Five Guys milkshake. I've got a picture. I've never seen somebody more content. of accomplishing that. And the 7-year-old had a vision. Mom had a vision. Dad had a vision. And then the ultimate, they created a vision for the family. In the next 30 days, we're going to do a 5K walk. And so you decide in the next 30 days, we're going to volunteer to go do something as a family. But vision night is just a great night. It's the thing that gives us hope. It's the thing that gets us up when we get knocked down, that vision of where we want to go. And visualization is one of the crown jewels of the S.C.O.R.E system. Self-awareness is right there at the top.
Right.
But after you're aware, how are you going to fix it? See what you want, see it as it will be, see it as if it's so. You know what we're doing now as a society? We're seeing what we don't want.
Yeah, right.
We're going to bed seeing what we don't want. I'm like, what? Go to bed, let what you want tuck you in bed and wake you up in the morning. You guys, and listen to your children. Listen to them. Are they talking about what they don't want? Or are they talking about what they do want? That inner dialogue, that dialogue is crucial for your kids' success. Small success to the ultimate big success when they leave the nest at 21, 22, 23. Right. So do a vision night. Listen to the inner dialogue that your kids are talking openly. When expectations don't meet reality and they complain about it and roll their eyes, let them know. Put your chin up. You can do that. What is there to learn? There's always something to learn. And, I've coached the best in the world. I coached Carlos Delgado when that was one of your clients, and Jose Cruz Jr.
Yep.
These guys were world-class decision makers, and they're still world-class decision makers, and their career is long over. Delgado's successful, Cruz successful, and that's really a person that's just going to have a simple, balanced, abundant life. And again, it's short. And one more thing. At 76 years old, when I went and saw a lot of my friends, my first thought is, there's a lot of old people here. Holy crap. How these people get so friggin' old? There are a lot of old people. And then I realized you've got to enjoy the journey. And to the end, it's all about enjoying the people you love, doing what you love with the people that you love. And it's not how much money you have. It's not, oh, I've got a Bentley, whoop-de-dip, so you got a Bentley. What's that got to do with anything, really? Does that make you a better person? No, it's a great car. I got it. I understand it. You can have it. But that's not what life is all about. If there's an end to your life, Jeff, and to your wife's life, there's an end. There's an expiration date indelibly etched somewhere in our body. There it is. If there's an end, and there is an end, we haven't proved that, no, Jim, there's no end. I think you could live to 500. But there's an end. So how should we think? What's the hurry?
Right.
What's the rush? I'm 76. Why am I in a hurry? What am I in a hurry to do? And that's what I should be doing, listening to music and chilling and hopping a ride on some music in my background as a soundtrack of my life. And I think having music in your life is a pipeline to a zone state. You got to enjoy the journey, Jeff, and slow down and don't let anyone, including your spouse, we love them, but we allow them to increase our breathing. We do that. We do that.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that anymore because it never worked. It never panned out great. So control your breathing, control your mindset, stay out of the past except for laughing and learning. And in the future, just go there for a plan. Otherwise, lock in the moment. That's where happiness is. It really is, Jeff.
Yeah. Agreed. I'm pretty happy right now, Mr. Jim Fannin. I'll tell you that for sure. I've got 2 pages of notes here from our conversation. Just fantastic stuff. I will be going back to re-listen to this as well. But Jim, you're doing some really cool things now. You've got the Live in the Zone podcast. You're on Instagram right now. All this information you're talking about, there's a constant flow of it. If people want to really tap into you and all your information, where would you send them? Jim Fannin, of course, jimfannin.com is the website.
Go to zonecoach.com. They're both my websites. You can go to jimfannin.com, but go to zonecoach, zonecoach.com. I am a zone coach. We have zone coaches to help you get into that purposeful zone state. But go to zonecoach.com. Go get one of our courses. This is how I'm talking in the course. They're audio courses. There's a business course that is a video, but we've got a life course that's only $47, and I get it to change your life. And I'm here to help everybody be the best version of yourself. I'm here to help you as adults. I'm here to help your kids, and we have a team that can handle whatever challenges that you have. We will help you find the solution. But go to zonecoach.com. Check out the podcast, definitely Living in the Zone. And let's get off to a roaring, exciting 2026. I want to say one thing. In the U.S., the 9th is Quitter's Day. I don't know if it's hit Canada, but Quitter's Day is that day, 9 days after the start of the year, when most resolutions, bing, they go by the wayside. So go past Quitter's Day on the 9th, reset your goals if you need to. Nothing great happens without a blueprint. Do that. Get one of my books, get one of my courses, and shed most of your thoughts. You know, my clients, Jeff, think 25 to 50% less quantity of thought. And everybody thinks Jim Fannin thinks a lot. I think less than everybody else. I do. I don't get into the minutia. I don't sweat the small stuff. I just don't. I've got people that can handle some of the minutia that I'm not very good at. But handling the big macro things in your life, that's what we need to be thinking about. We need to get up above that. And my courses will show you how to do it today. It's not something you have to train for a week to do. You're going to change instantly with some of this information.
Yeah, agree, John. I've been there, Jim, and I'm telling you, it is powerful stuff. Listen, yet another great kickoff to yet another great year, Jim. Thank you so much for everything that you do, my friend. You've had a huge impact on me, and through that, my family and my athletes. It's just been such a treat, and I love these conversations. Thanks so much, Jim.
Happy New Year, everybody. Jeff, you're the best. I love your show. Keep it up, and I know you're doing some things globally. We're going to catch up later about that, but keep it rolling in 26. And Jeff, have your absolute best year ever. You deserve it.
Thank you, Jim. I will. Thank you so much.
Happy New Year, everybody. Bye.
Okay, there you go. Jim Fannin. Now you know, if you haven't seen or heard Jim on the show before, now you know why you love him so much. Like, listen, there is 50 plus years of high performance knowledge just flowing right there. And this is Jim Fannin unleashed for sure. But listen, such great stuff. How about this? Let's start with this. The problems. Okay, problem solving. I talk about problem solving all the time. And, you know, Jim has talked to me about this before, and maybe it just didn't sink in until now. So I'm going to reflect on this a little bit. But just simple adjustments, these little nuances, simple changes can make such huge, impactful shifts in how you think and operate. Eliminating the word problem and substituting it for the word challenge. Just think about that. Think about the context of that for a second. Like, I'm actually quite disappointed in myself that I hadn't really connected those dots before. And if you guys seen our office up there in the studio, connect the dots. I really haven't connected those dots before. Despite Jim Fannin probably saying that, so many times on this show, right? Problem solving. Well, I'm okay. Well, we have a problem. Let's call it a problem, and let's see how we can overcome it. It's never been a negative thing, but it is a negative thing. Like Jim said, the very concept of a problem takes you into that worry state. But the concept of a challenge gets you into that warrior mode, that challenge mode. Hey, let's tackle this. I love that. How about that, right? Also, the idea, some of the notes I have, some of the ideas that I wrote down here, really, really important. A warrior or a worrier. And I'm going to go back and listen to this again, because Jim's comments or just, I could tell his concern about the worry, the rate of worry, the level of worry that he's experienced, not just in his circle, but in general in society today. And there's a good reason for that, of course. There's a lot of things that are just absolutely out of our control. But listen, the idea of Jim's program, where they put all these little areas that make up who we are into arenas. And whatever happens in that arena stays in that arena. It's isolated, and it doesn't get a chance to leak in and pollute and corrupt the other arenas of our life. So my family arena is always going to be happy, though I do really rely on the Debster, Miss Crusher, I really do bounce my ideas off her and my concerns. And when I'm worried, she's one of my sounding boards for sure, and hopefully I am for her as well. So she does have to deal with my crap once in a while, right? When I'm overcoming or I'm challenged or I'm trying to figure things out. But the idea that if in one of my arenas, like one of my athletes gets hurt and injured, and now trust me, that hits home for me. That hits deep and hard, because I know what that means for that athlete. But again, hey, we just look at the issues, we overcome it, and we make a plan, right? And again, I like Jim's 90-second rule. I always tell my athletes, you get 90 seconds, an hour, a minute and a half to feel sorry for yourself, feel mad, swear, cry, do what you have to do. 90 seconds. And then let's get to work. Let's get to work planning the next phase, because every injury, if we frame it up properly, we've got to look at the rehabilitation, the return to play, the return to performance. And for the most part, that return to performance can be very, very, very exciting. Doesn't take the pain off the moment, though. It doesn't take the pain away from the moment. But it's a bit of a process you can go through, right? But if that arena stays in that arena and doesn't pollute the other arenas, boy, that's a powerful thing. So I like the idea of Jim's program and isolating things into arenas. In our programs, we have those 3 circles, and we try to really, really break down those meaningful, aspects or regions or categories of a person's life in terms of sport performance and business and life in general, right? So I really like that. The other thing I want to talk about here is what Jim said about breathing. Listen, I've said it on the show before, and we're working on an unbelievable guest. It's one of the things that I believe saved my life during my heart attack, is just the understanding of the true power of breathing and how it can influence not just your physiology, but your mental state as well. For me, it was a physiological thing with my heart and my heart attack. Okay, me controlling my breathing. I know for a fact I can control my heart rate, right? Like right now, if I go into a breathing cycle, depending on what I want to do, I want to elevate it. Do I want to relax? Do I want to really become calm? Okay, there's lots of ways you can do. So like, for example, in sport, our baseball players, breathing strategies, in the hole, when they're on deck and they're up on the field now, and then when they step into the batter's box, calming, controlled, purposeful breathing, right? For our hockey players, breathing, not just from a mental standpoint or calmness standpoint, but from a physiological recovery standpoint for our hockey players. When they come off the ice onto a shift, breathing. For our endurance athletes, our Ironmen or our marathoners, proper breathing patterns for physiological performance for sure, but also for mental performance, calming, focus, right? Jim mentioned breathing, and he has often on the show, but it is truly the switch to performance. It's one of the keys. And those rates that Jim talked about here are really, really important. Most people, if you count your breaths, just, catch yourself one day on the bus or in traffic or sitting at a restaurant or at your desk at work, wherever you might be, or in training even. Just out of the blue, just maybe put a reminder in your phone and let it just float for a couple weeks, and then you get a reminder, hey, check your breathing rate. And you might be surprised at how elevated and rapid your breathing is. And like Jim said, 10 breaths or less per minute. That's where the true top performers like to float. And again, depending on what's happening, okay, depending on what kind of sport you're in, those are the things we like to think about. That is something that is totally in your control. And then, of course, I got to just talk a bit about Jim's comments on parenting. He was really, really focused on parenting and the importance of parenting here. And I think that comes a lot from his concern about visiting that grade 3 class. You know, he goes and he visits Rice University. These are some of the next generation of great people in our society coming out of university into their areas of expertise. How many people put up their hands when he asked them if they worried? Every single one of them. Okay, these people who are fairly accomplished, they're well educated, they're heading out to take on the world. Then he goes to a grade 3 class. Hey guys, does anybody here worry about stuff? Boom, every little kid. And he's right. When I go back and think about it, back in grade 3 or 4, I think the only thing I was worried about was, hey, is my soup and my sandwich going to be soggy in my lunch kit, right? I can't remember worrying about stuff so much. Right? So that's something to think about. But you know, when I started organizing the show here and having Jim on, I was just thinking about, you know, I've known Jim for over 20 years now. When I was with the Blue Jays, Jim was working with some of the players, Carlos Delgado and Jose Cruz Jr., to name a few that he was working with. So I got to know Jim there. And that's where I saw the power of this whole mindset thing, along with the late and great Harvey Dorfman as well. 2 huge influencers on my life, right? But it got me thinking about the impact Jim has had on my thinking, okay? And there's so many things over the years that he's really got me thinking about that I just didn't think about before because it wasn't in my mindset. That's why these conversations are so great. So when I was setting up the show for Jim here, I just started thinking about, you know, what an incredible influence this man has been on me and my thinking, and hence my girls, my family, and hence the athletes that I work with. The things that Jim has talked to me about that have really, you know, sunk in, and some of this is going straight to my athletes. I guarantee it, right? But the idea that, you know, the influence he's had on me has influenced the environment, the community of people that have, you know, created who I am, created, you know, who you are, created the people around us, your teammates, and the influence, maybe most importantly in Jim's conversation, the influence we have on our children. I have 3 daughters, as you guys all know, if you listen to the show or watch the show now here on YouTube. I have 3 daughters, and I'm proud of these girls, like really proud of who they've become and how they operate, and not within the context of they need to make me proud. That has nothing to do with it. They are independent, decision-making monsters, right? All off chasing down their careers now. They have unbelievable friend groups. They have unbelievable relationships, and they're just good people. Man, whew, right? Maybe parenting. And again, there was no guidebook for us parenting, but Jim's conversation on parenting, you got to think, right? How powerful that is. Who influences us more than our parents? Nobody. Absolutely nobody. And again, there's no ideal perfect guide. There's no perfect template for being a great parent, but there are, just like developing elite performance in sport, there are fundamental principles that I think we all need to follow. Here's the thing, and I think this is what Jim's getting to. If we don't know or understand what those principles are, how can we possibly pass them on? One of the things I really heard Jim talk about was the idea of, you know, maybe protecting our youngsters from some of the worries that we have. That's not their deal. They don't need to worry about that crap, right? If we're worried, if we're going to create warriors or worriers, and then how we present how we're going to deal with issues to our children. Like, I'll sit down and talk to my girls right now and about issues we're having in business or with athletes or whatever it might be. And I'll just say, hey, here's the problem. Here's what I'm thinking. And I'll actually ask their opinions. And they have great ideas. They have great ideas. They still have a ton to learn. I still have a ton to learn, but they've got some great input, right? But I think, you know, when Jim talks about all the worry that he's seeing right now, can we protect our young people a little bit more? But then there's a slippery slope there too, I believe. And we'll have to talk to Jim about this next time, because if we protect them too much, how are we going to prepare them to deal with the challenges that are going to face them when, like he said, they walk through the door at 21 to go take on the world, right? So there's a balance there, but I think there's an ebb and flow as our young people mature and develop. That growth and development, man, growth and development. A parent's course on growth and development. I think that would be really cool. And I'm thinking, for sport for sure. Because understanding growth and development and, what a young athlete needs, how do parents know about this? I know, but that's been my life for 30 plus years. But how would a parent know? And I was very sincere when I talked to Jim about talking with those hockey families. Those parents just had no idea. I cannot tell you out of all the families I met, how many tears of joy and relief that actually started flowing during these conversations. And that was not the intent at all. It was not. But it was a real eye-opener for me that parents, they're really lost out there in the chaotic world of sport and athlete development. It's a chaotic, challenging world. And if you're not prepared for it, it can be a lot harder than it needs to be, right? So I think these are the kinds of things we need to talk about. And again, that's why these conversations are so important. Man, oh man, what an unbelievable conversation, and what a great way to kick off the new year with Jim Fannin. I have to thank Jim for coming on today and sharing just those thoughts. Just unscripted Jim Fannin. It does not get better than this. Okay, and again, I think seeing Jim Fannin live would be such a treat. Like such a treat, just unbridled, just unleash 50 years of elite knowledge. And listen, you can go on his website, either jimfannin.com or zonecoach.com, and just look at the people he's worked with. And look at the people that keep asking him back to work with him. Some of the world's top performers in almost every arena of business, life, and sport, right? Really, really good stuff. And we had them all to ourselves here for about half an hour, just a little bit more. So great. So I got to thank Jim for that. Such a treat to have him on at the start of every single Crush Performance year. This, our 20th year. You guys, if you're new to the show, I'll say this, if you're a longtime crusher, longtime listener, you know this already, but over the course of this season, this next year, going into April, May, June, and July, that'll round out our 20th season. We started in April. We're going to be going back and getting on some of the guests that we've had in the past. If there is a guest or a conversation that's been on the show over the last 20 years that was important to you or had an impact on you, hey, let me know. If you'd like to go back, and if there's a guest you want us to reach out to, we're reaching out to a bunch of the people who've been on the show in the past to catch up, see where they're at, and see what else we can learn from them for sure, but just to reconnect and see how they're doing more than anything. But if there is a guest that you want us to try to get onto the show, somebody from the past or somebody you feel might be a great addition to the Crush lineup, let us know. That's what it's all about. These conversations, I think, are how you're going to elicit change. And for me personally, guys, listen, problem. Okay, in my courses, when I talk to my athletes, I talk about attacking problems, not in a negative, but just when you step back for a second and just think about the word problem. And this is why Jim has eliminated the word problem from the Zone Coach vocabulary. When you say the word problem, it automatically starts leaking into that world of worry, right? Oh, damn, there's a problem. Shit, that's a problem. Oh, there's going to be a problem. Okay, a challenge, though. A challenge is a different thing. A challenge gets me kind of into battle mode, man. I am ready. Hey, challenge me. I dare you. Freaking dare you to challenge me. I'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. Might not be easy. Might be very difficult. But we'll take that on. So that, again, for me, that's one of the little nuanced things that can just be so powerful. And that's what the show's all about, you guys. All right, again, I got to thank Jim Fannin for coming on. I want to thank you guys for tuning in. Please share the show. Listen, this is how we're going to help so many people out there, is just sharing this show. So if you have family, friends, teammates, colleagues, this is a good one. It really is. And again, you can go back to the last 5 shows. Unbelievable people sharing their knowledge with us. Got to thank them all. Okay? All right. As we move forward, we've got some exciting things coming up as, the NFL winds down, Major League Baseball is rumbling, the NHL's on, the Olympics are coming, though. And you guys know I'm a huge fan of the Olympics. So over the next couple shows, we're going to be kind of Olympic themed here as we get ready for Italy. And then we'll be, of course, tackling all the other great Crush stuff as well. So, all right, everybody, go out, have a great week. Get after those challenges into warrior mode. And we'll talk to you next time right here on Crush Performance.
Find out what it takes to be a top performer. Get the Krush blog, podcast, and newsletter at crushperformance.com.
Goodbye now. Don't forget to ride.